Hi, once more welcome to Book Guru's Book Buddies. My name is Sangeeta Goyal and I've been bringing stories to you, books to you. Today, the book that I bring to you is called Erandi's Braids. Erandi's Braids is written by Antonio Hernandez Madrigal and it is illustrated by Tommy D. Paula. This book, the story in this book, is from a far away place from here, from a country called Mexico. And this story comes from a long time ago, around 70 to 80 years ago from today. Around the 1940s and 50s, what used to happen in Mexico is that women would sell their hair for money. They would chop off the hair and sell it off for money. Who would they sell it to? They would sell it to people who made wigs, who made eyelashes, who made different things out of hair. And people who buy hair, they would go to the villages in Mexico and they would scream, inviting the women to come to a barber's shop, chop their hair off, and take it with them. So the story comes from 1940s and 1950s from this country called Mexico, where it was a thing for women to sell their hair for money. And the women, they loved their thick long braids, and sometimes they feared that their hair may not grow back again after they cut it. Alright? And since this story comes from Mexico, there you will come across some new words in the story. And I will tell you some of the words that will appear in the story and what they mean. The first word is Buenos dias. It means good morning, and good morning to all of you. Buenos dias to all of you. The second word is Erandi. Erandi is the name of the girl about whom the story is in this book. And her name, Erandi, it means sunrise. The next word is fiesta. Fiesta means party. Then there is huarajes, which means footwear or sandals. And then there is huipil, which means a blouse. Then there is mi hija, which means my daughter. Then there is Pascuaro, which is the name of a village. Then there is Senor, which means Mr. Senorita means Mrs. And Si means yes. And there is one more word which I don't think any one of you may need an explanation for. That word that you will find in this book is tortillas. Most of you know what tortillas is. Erandi's braids for you. Erandi, it's time to wake up, Mama whispered. Roosters were crowing as the orange and crimson colors of dawn spread across the village of Pascuaro in the hills of Mexico. Erandi got out of her bed, she washed her face, she put on her weeble and skirt. Then Mama brushed her hair and wove it in two thick braids that fell to her waist. Then, once Mama was done braiding her hair, Erandi helped her prepare the dough for tortillas. She mixed and she patted, and as she was doing that, Erandi heard voices from a loudspeaker in the street. Hair! Hair! We will pay the best prices for your hair. Come to Miguel's barber shop tomorrow, said the hair. What is that about, Mama? Erandi asked. It has the hair buyers coming up from the city, Mama told her. Why do they want to buy our hair? Erandi asked. They say it is the longest and the most beautiful in Mexico. Mama explained. They use it to make fine wigs, eyelashes, and fancy embroidery. Mama looked at the cracked mirror on the adobe wall and she said that her own hair fell just below her shoulders. She turned to Erandi and said, "Your hair is much longer and thicker than mine, Erandi. The hair buyers would pay a fortune for your beautiful braids." She said this with a pride. And then they sat down to eat their meal of beans and tortillas. "Do you remember what day it is tomorrow, Erandi?" "See, Mama, my birthday," said Erandi. She would be 7 and Mama was going to take her to Senora Andrea's shop to pick out a present. Erandi hoped she would get a new dress to wear to the village fiesta. And then they finished eating and got ready to go to the lake. Mama packed their fishing net and put it on her back. "Don't forget the buckets, Erandi," she said, starting off down the trail. When they arrived at the lake, women and men from the village, they were already fishing. Erandi's mama unfolded their net. "Look, Erandi, more holes. I won't be able to repair it anymore. We need a new net so badly." Then she paused and said, "Soon we will have some money to buy a new net." Erandi was surprised. They had so little money. Before she could ask Mama where she would get the money, her friend Isabel ran up. "Buenos dias, Erandi. Can you come and play?" Isabel called. "Go," Mama said, "but come back and help me sort the fish." Isabel and Erandi, they ran across the fields of flowers. "Are you going to the fiesta next Sunday?" Isabel asked. The fiesta. Erandi remembered her birthday and the new dress she hoped to wear in the procession. But maybe Mama needed the money for the new net instead. "I'm not sure," she said. Throughout the day, Erandi went back and forth playing with Isabel and then coming back and helping her mama separate the small fish from the larger ones. Then it was time to go. Erandi was afraid to ask about her birthday, and Mama didn't say anything on their way back home. But next morning, after making tortillas, Mama said, "Erandi, it's time to go to Senora Andrea's shop." Erandi smiled. She knew she would have a new dress for the fiesta after all. As they entered the shop in the square, Erandi saw a beautiful doll wearing a finely embroidered yellow dress up on the shelf. Mama saw Erandi stare at the doll. "Erandi," Mama said, "what do you want for your birthday?" Erandi wanted the doll, but she knew she couldn't have both the doll and a dress. She pointed to the yellow dress, the same color as the doll. "Maybe next year we can buy you a doll, Erandi," Mama said as she paid for the dress. After they left the shop, Mama turned to Erandi and said, "Now we will go to the barber shop." Erandi caught her breath. "My hair! So that is how Mama is going to get the money for a new net? She is going to sell my braids. Erandi shivered at the thought of the barber cutting off her braids. But she didn't say anything to Mama. They reached Miguel's barber shop and went inside. Erandi looked across the room, crowded with women. She gripped Mama's hand and huddled in her skirt. She didn't look at the barber's chair. She could not help hearing the sharp snip, snip of the scissors. Will my hair ever grow back? She worried. The lines of women moved slowly, and Irandi's heart pounded as she and Mama reached the front. Next person, the barber called out. Gazing at the enormous scissors in his hand, Erandi felt her knees tremble. But before she could move, Mama walked to the chair and sat down. I should have known Mama would never sell my hair, Erandi thought as she watched the barber wrap a white apron around her Mama's shoulders and measure her hair. Your hair is not long enough, she heard the barber say. Her Mama's face reddened with embarrassment. Without a word, she got out of the chair. She took Erandi's hand, and as they turned to leave, the barber noticed Erandi's braids. Wait, he called out. We will buy your daughter's hair. Mama whirled around. My daughter's hair is not for sale, she said proudly. Then she felt the pull of Erandi's hand and looked down. See, Mama, we will sell my braids, Erandi whispered. No, Mija, Mama said. You don't have to sell your hair. But Erandi, she let go of her Mama's hand and she walked towards the chair. The women stared as she climbed up onto the seat. The barber measured her braids and picked up his scissors. Erandi closed her eyes. Her hands turned cold when she felt the metal scissors rub against her face and her neck, and she heard the sharp snip, snip. The barber moved to the second braid, and Erandi's eyes filled with tears, but she dared not cry. Instead, she asked the barber, Senor, will my hair grow back? Of course, it will grow just as long and pretty as before, he told her. Erandi kept her eyes shut until the barber had finished. Then she opened them slowly and looked in the mirror. Her hair had just reached below the bottom of her ears. Out in the street, the air was cold on the back of her neck. How strange it felt without her hair. Mama walked beside her, not saying a word, only the hollow chap, 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 clapping of their footwear, of their huraques, broke the silence of the cobblestone streets. Why didn't Mama speak? Was she angry with her for cutting her hair? Or maybe the hair cutter had not paid enough for her braids. Finally, Erandi peeked at Mama's face and saw she was crying. Forgive me, Erandi. I shouldn't have let you sell your hair. Mama sobbed, wiping her face with an old handkerchief. Now Erandi understood that her mama was not angry with her. She had only been thinking of Erandi's hair. Don't worry, Mama. My braids will grow back as long and pretty as before, Erandi said. Your hair was the longest and the most beautiful of all, her mama said. Erandi paused for a moment and then she asked shyly, Mama, did they pay you enough to buy the new net? See me, hija. They paid us more than I expected. We can buy a new net and the doll you wanted. She gave Erandi a big smile, and Erandi had never felt happier before. Then Mama took Erandi's hand in hers, and as the last rays of sun lit up the rooftops, they turned and went back to the square to buy Erandi's doll on her birthday. And that's the end of this story. Erandi's braids. I hope you enjoyed the story. It's a beautiful story. Like all the other stories that we have brought to you. Even this story will have an activity in the description of the video. Please do the activity and send it to us. You have been listening to the stories. You have been interacting with us, which is a great thing. Please continue to do so. We will look forward to listening from you, your thoughts, your ideas. And I will see you again very, very soon. Until then, goodbye. Have fun.